Nagged by the thought of losing another fight, Arrow put away his call to adventure. Leading the way home, he contemplated his abilities. All I have to do is learn to access my powers. Then I'll be able to protect them, he thought, glancing towards his debating friends. The closer they got to home, the more they discussed what work needed to be done. Arrow made his case for the installation of a workout area. Rael and Ava only agreed if they were allowed to build what they called a laboratory on the roof. The trio enjoyed planning their renovations and spent the next months making it happen. Whether they knew it or not, the realm began to twist and turn around them. Arrow's awakening truly was a beacon, calling to action forces beyond a human of Earth's understanding. Never did any of them think Till's predictions would come true. Moving forward, the trio spent every waking moment turning their HQ into something Ava would be proud to call home. To accommodate their new vision, they were forced to construct a series of levels. Some were balanced and connected to the main structure. Others were on the edge of branches and held in place by rope, all of which they made from materials sourced from biotrees. The combination of the three of their imaginations created something in which every area presented an opportunity for growth. Soon, the exterior of their home resembled a jungle gym. With Rael sharing his expertise in acrobatics, they put it to use, moving around the HQ unlike most sane people would. Bouncing nets, bungees, swinging vines, and springboards all spread across the entirety of their home. When it came to the gym, they only had Arrow's imagination and recollection of stories he had collected over the years. It seemed to be an endless project, gathering all the components and designing their own versions of things. But in time, their gym took form. As their training improved, so did the apparatus they used to do so. As the artificial sun set on another day, the stars danced in the sky. Ava and Rael lounged around the hearth, warming themselves after a long day of training. Arrow, still the overall loser in all their games, was putting the finishing touches on tonight's dinner, lizard kebabs with locally sourced seasoning. Arrow, darling, you better not burn mine like last time, Ava warned. Of course not, Arrow nervously laughed, quickly removing her kebab from the grill. The renovations to their new home were well underway. With Ava's guidance, they had gained every comfort one could desire. Living outside the town of Resupply and fending for themselves started as the ultimate sacrifice and produced only reward. It wasn't total seclusion, as Ava continued to train with Nurse Kisa at least once a week. The days strolled on as their home transformed into a small palace filled with random treasures. Interesting rocks, unique flowers, and oddly shaped logs piled up, either to be used as decoration or involved in one of many projects. Rael even began designing what he called a wing sled to quickly move from the forest to the desert and back. Trust me, when it is finished, you will be able to surf across the sand and even through the trees if you are good enough, Rael would always say. These treasures had been sourced from the surrounding mountains, or from what Ava and Rael liked to call, borrowed from town. One of many nights, the trio prepared themselves for a so-called trip back to Resupply. Sneaking their way without making a sound or being caught had become one of their main sources of entertainment. All right, Ava said. You know the drill. Whoever makes the loudest noise has to carry the haul back home. Deal? Arrow and Rael nodded. Okay, we're all set. Intel's good. Everyone remembers what they're grabbing? Ava asked before covering her face with a shawl. Arrow and Rael responded by covering their faces, not saying a word, locked in and ready for the game. Sprinting out from the edge of the forest closest to town, Arrow, Rael, and Ava split up to accomplish their individual missions. Approaching the edge of town, Arrow broke off first. His mission was to reach the closest spigot and carry as much water as he could within 3 trips to the drop point at the edge of the forest. Then he was to rendezvous at the refugee center. Rael split off next to make his way down the main street. He was responsible for locating the non-local vendors and assessing their status. If they appeared like they wouldn't miss an item or two, Rael would use his powers to bring it to the drop point, then meet at the rendezvous. Ava's role was to scout further into town and assess the area leading to the refugee center before finding a way inside. Reaching the rendezvous, Arrow climbed to where Ava was perched on the roof. Silently waiting a moment, Arrow wondered what was taking Rael so long. As he turned to look back, a quiet flash of cloudy darkness appeared between them. When Rael poked his head out, the scare caused Arrow to nearly fall from the roof. I hate it when you do that, Arrow said with a clenched jaw. Ava and Rael smirked, pointing at their ears and then at Arrow, who was now rolling his eyes at the thought of carrying everything up the mountain. Right on time, the headmaster made his way from his office and out the large doors of the center. A new band of Jerpas arrived the day before, and Grant was headed out for a night on the town. The trio knew he could not resist their board game. Crawling through the open vent, they swung down the geometrically spindled bracers, silently making their way into the refugee center. Looking around to ensure no one was awake, the trio walked in sync to Headmaster Grant's office, quickly scurrying through the door. The main objective was to arrive undetected. Having no clue what they would find once inside, they needed to be quick and thorough. Pointing at her eyes and then pointing around the office, Ava silently directed Arrow and Rael to search the room. Arrow searched through the clutter on the desk while Rael searched through the shelves closest to the floor. With this being the most daring mission yet, Ava explained in her briefing that they needed to be on the lookout for anything unusual. This thought popped into Arrow's head as he watched Ava walk towards a lonely bookshelf above Grant's bed. I expected all the trash and filth, but those books aren't fooling anyone, Arrow thought. Ava reached for the center book, surprised to discover that all 3 books were attached and not real books at all. Removing a small rune-covered case from under the false books gained Rael's attention. Stepping up to her, Arrow and Rael stood over Ava's shoulders, all 3 smiling at their discovery. Taking the contents of Grant's treasure hoard, they left the rest of his office as they found it. Sneaking out of the refugee center, the trio made their way to the drop point, gathering the remainder of their borrowed goods and loading Arrow up with as much as he could carry. The 3 friends made off into the night, holding back their laughter. Once home, they spread out the many things, reveling in their score. With the overabundance of fluffy pillows, warm blankets, and colorful tapestries filling their hoard, Ava and Rael enjoyed their time decorating anywhere that needed it. If only the headmaster could see us now, Ava scoffed, placing an oddly shaped chunk of melted glass she found cratered in the mountain atop a new end table. Who knows, maybe he won't even notice that we took his secret stash, Arrow said, chuckling as he laid back into a pile of pillows. Hey, don't get used to that, Ava scolded. I have plans for those. Oh, come on, Ava, Arrow replied. I'm sure there are tons more in those things we took from Grant's office. Besides, I kind of like the idea of a pile of pillows. I can't believe Grant had that many filled zero drives just sitting there, Ava chuckled. Thrown in the most obvious spot. There is no way he reads books, Rael joked, hanging by his feet from the biotree rafters of the ceiling above. Don't you guys think it's stealing? It kind of feels like stealing, Arrow noted. Well, as long as we make the effort to stay away from the locals and only target the bullies, I'd imagine it's okay. Thieves can't complain to the police about having their stolen goods confiscated, now can they? Ava answered. This is how we leave the boat de forager, Rael said. Not everywhere is as peaceful as resupply. In 2 years from now, you will see. Even the GA struggles with the infection of evil.